This video will give people information on cruising from New York City, specifically from the Manhattan Pier. So the information that we'll include in this video will be the location of the cruise terminal in Manhattan relative to other things of interest. I happen to park at the Ferry garage in New Jersey and take the ferry over to the terminal. Talk about that and the alternate parking. We'll talk about where Central Park is relative to the cruise terminal. I like to visit some of these places before and after the cruise, including Times Square, the World Trade Center Memorial, and you might want to get around to these areas by using New York City subway. We'll talk about where the subway stations are relative to the cruise terminal. It's all very accessible, so there you go. And then finally I'll show you on a map where the two airports are relative to the cruise terminal. So that's coming up next. So we're going to look at the area around the Manhattan cruise ship terminal. I'll point out some stuff here on the map to give you an idea of what's going on. So here we have Manhattan right here in the middle of the picture. Hope you can see my cursor there. Now we're going to zoom in. So right here in the middle is the Manhattan cruise ship terminal. And let's point out where it is relative to other landmarks. Here is the Lincoln Tunnel. And so there's Central Park there. If you were to walk from the cruise ship terminal to Central Park, 32-minute walk. And this is Times Square right here in the middle. You can see that. That is about a 23-minute walk according to Google Maps from the cruise ship terminal. So parking in Manhattan is very expensive, and I have recently been parking in New Jersey at the Port Imperial Ferry garage. They allow long-term parking there, much more reasonable. So current rates I'm not sure, but the one time I parked at the Manhattan Ferry or the Manhattan cruise ship terminal right next to the ship, that was about $300 or $400 for the week. In New Jersey it's about $125, I think. So, but check it. Anyways, let's have a look at how to get there. So the cruise ship parks right here. The Manhattan Ferry terminal is right next to the Lincoln Tunnel down here. It is easy to walk. It's about a 23 or maybe 20-minute walk from the ferry terminal to the cruise ship terminal. Where you park your car at the parking garage is across in New Jersey at the Port Imperial Ferry. The dock and the garage is all right there, and very reasonable parking. So you can roll your suitcases on and off the ferry. So the whole walk with your bag is the equivalent of going through a large airport, so no problem. And let me just explain here. When you walk along here, it is an area for the locals and tourists to enjoy the waterfront area, wide, safe sidewalks to walk on and so on. And strongly recommended, not just because of the cost savings, but also because it's an easy way to get there, and safe as heck. So that's all I can say. So the Broadway area includes all the theaters and so on. Goes right through Times Square. It's not as evident on the map, so I'm going to show you here by popping on this red line to show you where it goes. And as you can see, it goes right through the Times Square area, and you can access the subway there too. So here's a close look at the southern part of Central Park. The Manhattan Cruise Terminal is in the bottom left-hand corner. The Broadway area is the red line right down the middle. Off to the right is Central Park. Circled there in the middle of the right is the home of Yoko Ono and former Beatle John Lennon. And it's right at 72nd Street. And if you just proceed east into the Central Park area, the exhibit for Strawberry Fields is right there. I walked from the Manhattan Cruise Terminal to the Dakota and Strawberry Fields in 35 minutes. After that, I took the subway back down to Times Square. So this is a map taken off of the website for the New York City subway system, and I am not an expert on it, but I wanted to illustrate how close it is to access the subways. So here's my attempt. This map shows Central Park in the top middle, where it says Manhattan through there. That's actually Central Park. And the red arrow off to the left middle is where the cruise ship pier is. If you wanted to access the subway system, there's all kinds of trains that go different directions. So it would be less than 15 minutes walk to a subway station. And that could take you just about anywhere in New York City area, I guess. By the way, down to the at the bottom left-hand corner, big green arrow pointing to the exact spot of the World Trade Memorial site. That would be of interest to a lot of people. So hope that's a help. Refer to the website for the subway for connections and so on. So this is the map showing you where the airports are relative to the cruise ship pier. So the cruise ship pier is shown here with the big black arrow on the middle left-hand side. There's two major airports for New York City. JFK is in the bottom right-hand corner, circled there. In the top right middle, the red arrow pointing down, that's the location of LaGuardia. One other thing of interest for the cruisers, when you leave the Manhattan Pier, will be headed out to the sea, but shortly thereafter there's a red heart there, and that's the location of the Statue of Liberty. We go fairly close by, and it'll be on the right hand side of the ship, so be sure to see that.